Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the LCO. It is time for your favorite segment, for your favorite segment, for my favorite segment, for her favorite segment. It's Menu Log Meal Time. We're giving away $40 codes when you type Menu Pog in Twitch chat. And look, Kitty has prepared a snack for you as well. She's going to drop some bars, some Mars bars. We call them the Kitty Cat bars. What have you prepared?
What have I prepared? PGG. Going against not GZ.
That was hot.
You can't just throw it onto me like
yeah,
that,
you're under
Mac.
the bus.
I'm cool Kitty today. I'm not rapper Kitty.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta ask me on a different day when these sunnies aren't alt mate.
Okay, we're going through
right?
the characters. All right, well, we'll do that over the next couple of weeks. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed your snack. That's it for Menu Log Mealtime. $40. You guys could win it. Beautiful, beautiful. But it is time, of course, for the match of the week. We got a whole bunch to talk about. We got Chiefs. We got PGG. Let's see who we're going to be breaking down first because, I don't know. It's Chiefs. All right. Are they the favorites? Are they the underdogs? That's the question. And Skimmy, I want you to put some spice on this one for me.
All right, mate. So the spice for me is the fact that Kisei is an absolute weapon. His kill participation's rather low in comparison to his opposition Dongy, but his kill share is through the roof. This guy vacuums up the kills. He wants them. He's been in the form of his life right now, so if you're looking at a lane to try and target, a lane to try and showcase why you should be the point of focus, then it would be him. The bot lane pairing of Raze and Eladoric haven't been able to hit the same highs as they had last split, but there's no denying their ability. And as for Biopanther and Babbitt, this should be a really interesting one to sort of see how they can fare up against the old guard, which is the pairing of Chippies and Schönfire. So I think I'd be looking firmly at Kisei to be given a counter pick matchup or be given a lot of priority, but overall I think it's going to be a really evenly matched game.
Certainly will be. And I reckon bot lane is where it could be decided today. I've enjoyed what I've seen from both these teams, but at the same time, look, Raze, he is insane, especially when the pressure's on, and I'm thinking maybe it's his day.
Yeah, I mean, Raze has always been that person to rely on for the Chiefs, of course, especially for 2022. But from his previous experience alongside Alador, we've just seen some shakiness. But they're up against PGG, Vile, and RP today. RP just making his role swap to support. Once again, he used to play in the LTL as a support player. They have been looking as strong as ever, and I think Violet, like Rusty said, is back in tip-top shape.
And look, I've got eyes on RP solely because you know Aladoric has not shown anyone respect, but I feel like Appy's been demanding it with the consistency he's been showing lately.
I mean, it's a team with 3 top laners as well, ready to go, playing every single position. They've all deferred top lane to Chippies for a reason. You heard it from them yesterday on Twitter as well. Appy said this is why Chippies is our top laner, because he comes through, gets the quad kills, plays the Olaf. But like you mentioned, Mac, Appy, I think, is a big point to put your eyes towards, but also because not only is he doing really well immediately, integrating really well immediately, but him and Violet, I think, together are going to make a statement in this game.
I think, according to Chippies, he also said something on Twitter along the lines of, ban Olaf potatoes.
Yeah,
Yes.
along those lines, yeah.
Definitely that.
Adjacent to that.
Yes.
So,
What's Olaf potatoes? Is that
You'll have
cryptic?
to look at Chippy's Twitter.
Is that cryptic?
You'll have to look at Chippy's Twitter.
But we're on broadcast. I'll do it afterwards, all right? I won't bring it up right now. But look, at the same time, let's talk about that top lane because there is big old bio up there. And Chippies might have had, a great game yesterday playing the Olaf, dominating on the Olaf, giga chatting on the Olaf. But he's got one of the best tank individuals this region's seen for a very long time in Bio.
Yeah, it's actually, for me, top's a cool matchup because Bio's always been able to weather every storm. He's been one of the best tank players for so long. But he's also capable of playing those carry champions, Mac.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. When they go head-to-head, Chippies, while he's got his pocket picks, he is preferential to carries. And depending on the side select, Bio might actually get a counter lane.
Okay, well, let's maybe get some kind of insight because we've got Raze on the line to have a quick chit-chat. Raze, how you feeling going into the match of the week?
I'm really confident, even though yesterday we had a bad game. I particularly played really poorly, but I'm going to get up against PGG today, and I refuse to lose to them more than anyone else.
Love the rivalry between you two again. So let's talk a bit more about last night. We did see the BT coming from you first, where it was up against, I believe, an Ashe and Karma lane as the Caitlyn, of course. So please walk us through why BT.
It's like a defensive item that also like just gives you lifesteal you need against like Akali and Assassins, but I think the rest of my build was bad. Like Kraken Slayer was greedy, and like IE third was a bit of an autopilot because we couldn't kill Cassante. Like I had to like be the one to do damage to him. So yeah, it's just like a defensive offensive item with the Bloodthirster.
Now, what are your thoughts on the bot lane of PGG at the moment? Because they've been doing really well, Appy, with that role swap. We just had a quick discussion about it. You probably heard it as well. Do you think it's going to be difficult knowing how orchestrated these ganks, these roams are coming out of PGG at the moment?
2v2 shouldn't be difficult. It's mainly like coming from like if their mid jungle can actually impact the bot lane. They're just putting out Appy on these kind of like easy enchanter champs that just like lets the 80k carry lane. Like Vincent is obviously one of the best players, so we'll see how good Appy actually is. Like from my perspective, since I never played against his support.
And talking about the early game, sorry to cut you off, but talking about the early game, we did see some errors coming out of you guys up against, I believe it was the Dials from last night. So what happened there to cause these mistakes?
It's hard to really pinpoint. We just like made mistakes. We didn't respect like Poltron when he could be bot. I don't know what happened like topside, and we just misplayed a 2v2 mid jungle and the early gank. So yeah, like mistakes always happen. I think we bounced back later, but wasn't enough.
It's okay. Well, I love the confidence in Raze, and I'm sure Mac is also feeling very confident in his prediction, which is upcoming very, very soon. But thank you for the chat, Raze. Best of luck in your upcoming match, and hopefully we get to see you in the post-game as well.
Thanks.
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 To you too, Raze, of course. Now, nice little bit of insight on what was going on at least yesterday and his thoughts on today's game, without leaking too much, of course. Now, do you think we got enough insight there? Of course, let's have a quick look at the side select, Rusty, before you tell me what this means for the Chiefs.
I mean, what this does mean is kind of what I was saying just prior to the interview. There's an opportunity for a solo laner to get a counter pick up there, and there is a couple of points to me that stand out as differences between the teams, right? You just heard from Raze. Maybe doesn't think Appy's the best support right now.
Yeah.
And if he's just playing those enchanters, Aladoric's probably going to smash a tank support, right? He's going to play an engaged support, going to try and attack that as a weakness. We've seen Draven can work not just here with Mammoth, but across the world. So for me, I'm looking at maybe a counter in top lane and an aggressive bot lane, and Chiefs go back to the 2022 style that was successful for them.
Okay, we'll see if that one works out. But for now, it's time for the Dare fan vote. I think a lot of people have lost a lot of points today, so maybe this is the opportunity for some people to give back. Who knows? I'm actually feeling like, you know, from the fan side of things, this is probably going to be down the middle because points have gone bloody everywhere. No one has that faith in the Chiefs after last night. Everyone's got a bit of faith in PGG, as well as all these, you know, ex-PGG fans who are still hanging around, still holding on to that history. So I don't know what this Dare fan vote's going to look like, but let's have a look at our predictions. Skimmy, you've gone with the Chiefs. We've gone with PGG. Okay.
Yeah.
Bit of a split.
Our first split, Skimmy.
So what I find really interesting about this is that I think Raze raised a really good point about how you talk about the mid jungle being so strong for PGG. Obviously, Schoenfire doing his own thing, and Dongi just really filling into his own. I mean, he started off his career as a mid laner for Chiefs Academy, so it's almost like ceremonial in a way that he comes back to try and beat them again. I think if you can shut them down, because as they've shown so far, 100% first tower, 100% the first 3 towers, they get ahead early, they win early, right? So if you can look to try and shut down that mid jungle, they can't gank, they can't herald, they can't so on. So I think, yeah, if Chiefs can look to try and navigate that part of the game, they should win.
And Kitty, why are we believing in the Schoenfire supremacy?
Look, remember how Mr. Binbird told me that Kinga was going to win?
Not this
Yeah,
again.
he's fired. He's out of here.
Okay.
We had a little
Bin
chirp come
Chicken's
in
a supreme
soon.
now.
Bin chicken.
We had
in
a
the
little
bin.
chirp come into the microphone and tell me that PGG is just so strong in the early game where Chief won't find those angles later into the game to exploit those towers, to exploit those gold leads. Because Schoenfire is just always on top of his game. He is prepping those waves like a math teacher. Wave 7, Dongi, roam with me. He is so demanding, and I love seeing that. It's so refreshing in OC, and I love
Kitty,
it.
guess what? It is time for the match of the week. It's time to see the hidden strats. It's time for Champ Select.
I just wish my math teachers were talking about dives on wave 7.
Imagine if we're talking about waves, algebra and all the rest would be
sick.
so much more interesting. But here we go, right into the belly of the beast. That is the match of the week. Pentanet up against the Chiefs. And right away, we see a Draven first pick.
Yeah, so a couple of things that I think we should get out there. First and foremost is that Pentanet.gg so far have only played a bottom 3 team. They haven't actually played a top 3 team yet.
True.
So we haven't seen what the best of Pentanet.gg looks like. With that in mind, even yesterday when they played against Mammoth, they said they were hiding strats. So we come into this draft, we have to look at what will those strats be. Has anything changed? Is anything different? Chiefs, the same thing. You come into this week, you're 100% preparing for Pentanet. But they haven't seen each other. So they are hiding strats from each other for obvious reasons.
Absolutely, having not scrimmed each other from what we understand, having not played against each other, it's a case of really mid-jungle the most notorious for not revealing anything. 2 games of Ari, 3 games of Vi as their mid-jungle pairing. So really you're looking at this one and saying, have we done enough to try and read what they could do as a response? Because right now with Draven and Wukong locked in, the response from Chiefs has been we need engage and a big hyper carry to facilitate it.
I can't say I've seen a Draven Caitlyn lane, but that would be very exciting if that were to be locked in. Zeri is the only thing that's revealed so far for the bottom lane of the Chiefs, and it is a Draven Caitlyn lane.
Okay.
So we have a level 1 Draven and Caitlyn run at you. In some other regions, we see the Caitlyn run barrier, the support Caitlyn run barrier, and at level 1, they're just up. They're just at you. They're just constantly fighting. Now, I think that there might be better options than the barrier, but if you're against a Zeri who wants to scale and ramp into the game, the question remains on how the Chiefs will respond to this one, because you can double down on what your comp wants to do, right? That's where this Yuumi comes in. Zeri Yuumi is just a 2v2, but how does that, at any point, fight a Draven Caitlyn?
It can certainly not navigate this early game in a case of let's all in at level 1. Let's say that at the very least. Still 13.1, right? So still Yuumi is fairly viable despite the morning which Kitty finds herself in right now. What a curious set of circumstances here. If this is the source that PGG have been hiding away from us, then I'm sure they've got more up their sleeve.
Keep in mind here as well as we're going through the 4 or 5 bans, Olaf is going to be taken away. The reason that's important is because Cassante and Jax are already gone.
Yes.
And so those options for top lane are actually starting to get pinched and get very limited. Not as many choices up there as before. Nah, still a champion that seems to be quite popular. Still some choices do exist. But I like the idea of attacking that champion pool because Biopanther can play pretty much everything.
I am very curious to see how these two bruisers look to try and navigate that top lane matchup, whether or not they just say, let's play the 5v5 style, or if they want to try and open up their map with champions like Camille, which once again Chippies is fairly familiar with. He's most played in his career, as long as it has been. So I'm curious to see what the approach is from these teams as to how they feel is the best way to unlock that GG condition.
Still looking for an AP mage for both of these teams. I like the Rumble ban as an idea. It kind of forces Dongy more towards the Ari side of the coin. We don't actually know just how deep his champion pool runs, but he's going to ban the Azir, which is the next champion that came to mind for me, for him.
Yeah.
But Gwen's still an option, right? If you're going to play an AP champion on your top side of the map. So something that Biopanther may even consider here as a 4th pick if they want to hold Kisei's champion till last. That, or you try and find an Ornn angle here, perhaps, you know? This works.
Certainly does. If you're having to blind pick your solo laner, Renekton is straight in there to try and get the ball rolling. Pair that with the Sejuani, and you've got yourself a very scary pairing.
Yeah, you even consider the Aatrox against the likes of a Caitlyn and a Draven. There's going to be some options there. Renekton, very good at getting into the backline if they have limited mobility. But that does mean that Pentanet.gg will see this Renekton, and they will pick the expected matchup.
And I like the fact they've actually held counter pick here for Kisei, right? They want him to be the one that continues to be in this red-hot form to try and carry this game, put the Odin really on Dongy to say, okay, this is what I feel most comfortable with.
And hey, Kassadin is still up, that's all. Yeah, keep that in mind. Is this a Kassadin comp that you want to verse? Pretty hard to survive against the Charmin of Wukong, who can gank mid very accessibly. So may not be the champion of choice that he goes towards. The Akali that's being hovered right now, a little bit more impact than what it can provide earlier, and Kisei looked exceptional on both of those champions, so he gets his choice essentially of what champion he would like. And to no one's surprise, Kisei is going to get the 5th pick, get the assassin, go into mid lane. We've got ourselves our match of the week composition.
We certainly do, and 3 very squishy targets for that Akali to eyeball up and really look to really removed from the equation nice and early on, be it in a laning phase situation or even when they're looking to try and staunch you out with that ranged advantage once it comes to something like a dragon.
With that in mind, however, the Ari Charm, the Draven stand aside, both actually cancel dashes as well, so they have some decent tools in navigating the team fights when standing their ground to stop perfect execution, slice and dice, and Sejuani's Arctic Assault.
Yep.
So they have got the means to navigate if it comes to it, and that the Chiefs are on top of them, staying on the spot and fighting. Ari, of course, this is basically the bread and butter of Pentanet. If we want to highlight the styles of both of these teams so far in the LCO, Pentanet are diving, they're aggressive, their mid laner and jungler are roaming to side lanes, constantly looking for those angles. If it's not a bot dive, it was top dives yesterday. So that's how they're playing. They're diving those side lanes, they're LPL influence, they're aggressive. They've found their stride very early on into this split of the LCO.
And the highlight for me for Dongy has to be his champion style has been all about pick, right? Making sure you're finding these targets with the Rumble, with that Equalizer, or with the Ari, which we've now seen for the third successive time. So this should be a great way to feel at ease coming into this matchup up against what we have highlighted as maybe the strongest mid laner with Kisei. But I'm loving that bread and butter combo of an Anar and a Wukong that can look to link up perfectly and say, there's the Cyclone and here's the Slam.
But as we get into the game, the biggest thing that we have to look at here is how does the aggression of Pentanet.gg get weathered by the Chiefs? Because ultimately their composition wants to sit back and scale. Akali starts weaker in laning phase. Zeri Yuumi starts weaker in laning phase. The ball is in Pentanet's court. Let's see how they start this game off. That is an isolated Yuumi if there were to be a hook champion there. There isn't.
There isn't, no. It's an interesting point, though, how you raised that Pentanet have come into this one having versed none of the top teams as yet. So the stats do look a little bit inflated, but as it stands so far, by the 15-minute mark, they've been close to a 4K gold lead because they have managed to be just that clean with their execution, enforcing their playstyle. But can they find those same opportunities as easy as they've come in those prime matches?
It's funny, we were having this conversation yesterday off camera, just talking about Appy and be like, what champions does he play? He's new to the role.
Yeah.
And we know that he's been mostly playing Enchanters. You heard that from him as well. But we also know that Appy's played so many roles in League of Legends that it wouldn't take him long to pick up a new role, like playing a Caitlyn or an ADC in the support position. So here we are. Aggressive early start, you'd expect. Caitlyn long-range champion, Draven high-damage champion. If Raze gets to auto-attack a minion, you're expecting him to receive an auto-attack as a response. There should be a transaction at every time.
It's going to be a lot harder to try and lay down a trap to combo anything, but really you're just trying to be an absolute menace with high base damage and a lot of range to punish the low range, really, of the Zeri and the lack of sustain that a Yuumi can provide. Obviously a very high mana cost on that heal. So we'll be keeping our eyes firmly fixed on just how much CS the Zeri can afford without really being bullied out of lane.
So far, so good, though. It does mean that the tower is going to be under threat depending on where these junglers choose to play, but this is also something that we haven't highlighted yet. Caitlyn very capable at placing traps behind the turret and hitting the tower itself. Very high gold generation to be made. Schönfire and Babbitt about to find each other.
Yeah, junglers meet in the river right now. Schönfire really hits him on the head with that one, so Babbitt forced to run away very quickly.
And this now is very good for Pentanet. Just complete control dominion of the bot side jungle. Schönfire making sure Babbitt is not here at all. And as a result, that means the bot lane 2v2 is unleashed. Play as aggressive as you want now. You know that there's going to be no Sejuani nearby. I'm
wondering if they just managed to circumvent that ward there, or whether or not Schönfire does actually know that Babbitt's gone towards the top side of the jungle rather than reset. Either way, phenomenal vision and beautiful pressure, really.
I mean, by process of elimination, right? Like, logically, he kind of has to go towards the top side. You saw his level, you saw how many camps he had, and you also saw that the wolves were up because you took them. As here we go.
Here we do go. Aladoric jumps out, pop and block. There's the shield. Instant flash away. Pop the heal. TP coming in. Looking to try and make this one a beautiful transaction. Schönfire low. In comes Bio. He wants a kill. He's hungry. He wants Happy.
Yuumi's got one.
Chucked. There we go. Aladoric popping off on the cat.
Slice and dice comes through.
Oh, so close. Call the meat. Just not enough for lethal. But a beautiful play to turn it around.
Yuumi would have been a couple of seconds off another Q proc there as well. Very nicely done by BioPanther to teleport in as fast as he possibly can. Someone has to compensate for the fact that Babip got pushed out of the jungle. And it is the top laner of the Chiefs that comes in very clutch. Is Babip now going to relieve a bit of pressure in mid?
But you know what that play from Bai reminded me of is when he was playing for Pentanet back in 2021. It'd be Praetor in a very similar situation. Come to my lane, I'm demanding the resources, I need to get ahead. And obviously you want to make sure that the Zeri and Yuumi can weather that storm. So phenomenal play.
Happy about to find Babip, perhaps threaten with a Q to take away the Scuttle Crab. Doesn't want to get too close though. And you're right, it does remind us of that time. Happy playing with fire here. And the thing as well with top lane is just the timing that the Chippy's gains from this. So the effort from BioPanther was really well placed in that it helps his bottom lane out. But when all said and done, he lost a bit of control in top lane. The wave gets to be favorable for Chippies, and it's not like PGG are going to stop pushing down in this bottom lane. Fire, rinse and repeat aggression.
No doubt about it. You can imagine he's still pressing forward right now, hungry to figure out where Babip is next. He's gone back to base as we saw. Really making sure that both Violet and Appy can continue to be this aggressive, understanding that these plates will fall on down.
And that's it, it's the plates at the moment. Ray's full credit to the side of the Chiefs. He's farming very well. Zeri is one of the best at last hitting under the tower. Because of course you're seeing him just desperately fighting for every single last hit that he gets. He's also against the first strike Ahri, who's all about getting that extra gold generation down. And that single burst, not going to be an electrocute or any kind of staple normal Ahri build. It's a free lane, make some free gold.
Why not? Yeah, for sure. Just farm your way into Oblivion, try and find an advantage before Kissy can look to try and answer back.
Yeah, still provides the team fight stats as well, right? The bonus damage on initial hit.
Yeah, you got the range advantage for sure. Right now, though, no major lead to talk about, but you can really see that there has been a massive emphasis, a huge full stop all towards that bot lane and to making sure that this Draven Caitlyn lane, not something that we see too often, is able to do what it does best in the early game and just be an absolute menace.
But they survived the dive, right? Yes, he's standing on a ward now. Babip is going to sleep that one quickly. Going to realize that it's not a safe space, but the wave is being crashed and is being pushed. Violet and Appy are the ones who need to think about this. If they step up and hit this one, you know Sejuani could be around the corner. Wukong opposite side of the map. Babip going to take the safer choice and just let it go. But they're surviving. That's what you want. You think about game plans, they're surviving. There's going to be another big punch at level 6, certainly possible from a Wukong down to this bottom lane. Get the Ahri moving as well. It's the one piece that we want to see a little bit more of if possible. But so far it's been more about pressuring the lane itself.
Here we go, though, overextended, going to blast cone back in, realize I'm on another wall, but jumps across his raise, instant exhaust, Zap misses, but this one doesn't. On Appy's head, Summoner Heal is there, Violet goes in, he wants to kill, he's all in on this Zeri, catches another axe, beautiful barrier, trying to deny vision, gets the kill! Oh my god, it's Babip that picks up the double, but they still are deathless in the spot lane.
And really good comms from the Chiefs because Aladoric still has heal. They had no choice, they go for the kills, they're desperately trying to make that work. But they're just playing so aggressively. The punish was inevitable. Very nicely navigated by the Chiefs to not just get a single kill and stop some kind of push, but to get both. To make it impossible for PGG. And Schönfire, again, was on the opposite side of the map. This is the Chiefs we're used to seeing in the early game. Feels like firing again back to what we were normally seeing last year.
Certainly from the bot lane duo, we saw them pull off multiple moments montage-worthy. And when called upon up against a fierce rival, they are certainly answering the call into a very bizarre duo. Mid lane has really been unable to participate in the shenanigans. As mentioned before, Dongi has an incredibly high kill participation, up about 80%, one of the highest in the entire league. He's just been able to roam wherever he wants, always in tandem with Schönfire. Now, maybe that is possible, given that Vi is now just at level 6. Or rather, the Wukong. I've said Vi.
Yeah,
that's
I know.
What he's played.
Schönfire is synonymous with Vi. It's got the other one that does a similar thing. It's a bit more of a team fight focus, though, from the Vias.
Oh!
We're going in.
Okay, raised. In the face of adversity, just dashes in. Lightning Crash active. Burst Fire. Absolutely pumping. Has to be careful though, because Schönfire lurking in the shadows.
Has flash, can find an angle here, but may have to flash forwards.
Kissay On a flank, flash, Cyclone, dash away! Oh, just catches an axe. Mid-wave, running away. Now what can Kisei do? Can he play cleanup crew here? He spots two very squishy members.
He's got the Yuumi in tow.
Aladoric jumps on, gives him a little bit of extra adaptive power, jumps in, finds Violet, misses the shuriken flip, finds another target instead. Everyone's so low, they're crippled. He jumps in for one, flash! Auto! Oh no! He's just missed it by a hair's breadth.
And Dongy's here.
Certainly is here. He's going to try and body block through some minions, but what can you do with an Orb of Deception which will not be deceived by this? Ring around the rosy. But Dongy gets the kill.
There's only so many circles that you can do. Dicey play there from Kisei, from the Chiefs, in response to Pentanet, looking for that play. Amazingly, almost survives his raise at the very...
Whoa! Bio!
Bio, you good, homie? Bio!
How it feels,
Bio, stand still real quick. Let the game work it out.
How it feels to play on 500 ping. My man is absolutely ice skating out here.
This discovered teleport tech, that's crazy. Watch this one more time. Raze, again, was very close to actually surviving. He gets the dash away here, but the Draven Axe, perfectly timed, comes through. And Kisei has a choice in this situation. He can play for 1 kill, maybe 2 kills, depending on how they play this one out, because they scatter. Or he can be greedy and go for 3. He looks for 3, hits the R, E misses. That would have been the first kill, and then the 3 was guaranteed. But then flashes forwards again, makes another decision that he wants them all. And unfortunately for Aladoric, he is stuck at the whim of Kisei and how aggressive he wants to be. He wanted everything and the kitchen sink, and then Dongy says, thank you very much for the cat. And 2 funerals today for Yuumi.
Certainly are 2 funerals. But you have to respect the attempt. As another attempt is made, no stun, but a big slow as a result. Final chapter goes out, you're locked in place this time, that's for sure. Can they find that second kill? They certainly can, locked in place, and that is a very fed Sejuani.
And this is starting to get really rough for Pentanet down in this 2v2. Babib needs to simply show up and it's going to be a kill threat. Caitlyn and a Draven with no summoners makes things very difficult. Dongy about to be spotted, Schernfire now as well. No Sejol, but I'm not sure that there's a play there, Skimmy. They're here just as an afterthought, more of a dissuasion. And that means that Akali gets free reign in mid as well. Chiefs in control of the game.
Certainly are able to showcase what they're all about, which is Bio coasting in this top lane, Kisei given opportunities to roam but farm.
Coasting by teleporting.
Yeah, literally.
It's actually all he's done this game, isn't it? He's teleported bottom, he's teleported from top to Herald.
I've actually never seen that interaction though, when he was just glitch hopping around.
When the beat drops. Happy push back.
Oh, here we go.
He's fighting on the top side.
He certainly is. There's a fight on 2 different fronts, one in the river and one down in bot lane as they're trying to keep them interested to deter them from backing up. Kisei, oh, there he goes! Has he got the escape plan? I think he has. He's breaking Dongy's ankles right now. Where am I going? You have no idea. Denied a vision, and now it's your chance to run away. Abbott, though, does not have the ult, so no counter engage, but it was clean.
I mean, those ankles just got snapped off clean by Kisei on this Akali. He navigates it perfectly. It was a little bit hard to see on the top of the screen, but the charm went wide, and he was able to find the maximum DPS output. It was a little bit close to dying, but it doesn't matter too much. We'll watch it again. Schönfire engages onto Kisei, but he sees his target. He finds his mark. And Dongy coming in here should be the path that saves him. Schönfire has effectively done his job, but just a little bit early on throwing the skill shots, trying to damage him while he's in the shroud. Felt pressured perhaps because he knew his jungler might die.
Yeah.
But then missed everything and wasn't even able to make it a trade.
And that's it, right? He took a stab in the dark, hoping and praying that Kisei would have juked that way, but it wasn't to be the case, and essentially sealed the fate of his own jungler there.
Instead of a 1-for-1 was a 1-for-0. Feels a little bit bad, man.
First time though, Pentanet feeling the pressure in the early game, really more so than anything. Haven't been able to go for those typical 4-man ganks that resulted in massive waves being crashed, lost, and plates acquired. Chiefs really giving them a run for their money. Now going to try and bridge this gold lead even further in their advantage. Up by 2k right now. Herald 7 in mid lane, looking to try and find a little bit more their way. Going to go all the way into the pockets of Kisei. Right where you want it.
And it's a tough game to be a Caitlyn support now that you've got to deal with a Renekton, with a Sejuani, and it's a Sejuani that's 3-0 and is about to finish that Radiant Virtue after the Balmy Cinder. Very fed. Gonna have a hard time hitting a Yuumi, gonna have a hard time hitting an Akali. Gonna have a very hard time dealing with a Zeri if she's in auto attack range. And so the limitations of this Caitlyn pick are starting to really show. But if you're able to set up trap lines, clear vision with Schernfire, it has still got a distinct power level, right? One hitting wards is invaluable. ADCs can do it at a long range. Setting up 5 traps in an area, if you're there first, is really nice for objective skirmishes.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that the jungler of their team is also not ahead. Can still teamfight really well, but isn't strong enough to just walk in and face tank a Babip at any time safely. There's fear there. Makes it a bit harder to play it out.
That's been one of the benefits of Babbitt being able to pull ahead by getting all these kills and assists. He's able to be a bit of a menace himself in those 1v1s. Not going to be anywhere near as easy for Schernfire to do what he did in those early first 5 minutes, right? Of just invading, keeping tabs as to where the boar is.
Trinity Force done as well here from Chippies. Going to go for the duelist build. Pressuring top lane eventually starts to add up and become a turret take. Very nice playing as Nah and feeling confident enough to hit turrets because you can tick over to Mega, take the trade and then jump away. With the Demolish procs, if you're able to afford that as a rune choice, and also get some extra health back from transitioning to the Mega Nah again. Has got the fleet as well, so is looking to sustain through that lane. And Poe can be aggressive in mini form. But it's the rest of the map that he needs to be very vigilant about, and may start to focus more around those team fights with Mega Nah timing after the turret in top lane falls down.
Speaking of those team fights, you'd anticipate that those are about to break out now. Mythic item spikes coming across the board, and then we jump for a cheeky little skirmish. You go for the turret, then you're going to get picked apart. As a result, it's going to be a 3v1. He leaps out of harm's way. Does he burn the ult? I think it's a pretty done deal. He does for good measure, saying that Babbitt, how about a fourth? Would you like another one?
I mean, yeah, gets the wave as well with that ultimate, right? So while it kind of feels inevitable, buys himself a half second, clears half the wave, and the rest of his team is going to be pushing bot lane anyway. And they will break themselves the turret. That is 2-0 in turret skimmy, which is a very big swing in control of the map in favor of Pentanet. That does mean that a Herald's going to be taken, and the threat of more exists.
It certainly does. Ace in the hole goes out into the Shroud, into the Cyclone charge number 2. This time the charm lands, and this time Dongi's able to shut him down.
The situation of a little bit too many things at once here. Wukong's so dangerous coming from Fog of War, looking for those engage angles. You can't react, you can't flash away. You get locked down in crowd control. Caitlyn ult comes through and then you're charmed. Very nicely done to ensure that pick is secured. And now suddenly it's 2 towers and a pick for the Rift Herald, which is becoming more and more worth it for him. They're starting to build that momentum up. No matter how strong Babip is, the rest of the map still needs to be able to find purchase in how they play this game out. That's why I still think we're looking at a bit of a bot lane based game. And I still think it's pretty easy to play the Yuumi Zeri now that they've gotten to this point.
Certainly puts a bit of an emphasis on this Herald finding some value to try and answer back the amount of pressure PGG have been able to dictate on this map. Looking for a cheeky flank on towards Raze is what Chippies are about to do. There is the stand aside. But unable to find the lead that they're after as Chippies does become Mega. They're going to all group up and rally around this second Drake spawn.
They got the flash though from Zeri. Really important moment in this fight when you've got a Wukong that has flash. No Cyclone it looks like for a little bit though, so maybe they're not looking to time their fight perfectly on the Drake spawning. Hunting for Kisei first and foremost.
Yeah, he's got to be fairly careful here. As Pentanet showing no signs of going into the river just yet, but perhaps the 5v5 breaks out. In jumps Kisei, lurking in the shadows once again. Lightning Crash comes out, no flash shot, it doesn't matter. Exhaust onto Schernfire, in trouble, that's his clone. Flash dash, Kisei, hunting for the execute. But it isn't the target he's after.
Charm hits.
Charm does hit, Kisei is going to receive a heal. He put in a considerable amount of damage, but they're unable to make it stick apart from Violet.
And you've witnessed just how difficult it is to be a carry in this game on the Pentanet side. Just instantly dead. Violet, both summoners gone, doesn't matter. Just so hard to survive. There's a Yuumi on top of a Renekton running you down. And an Akali assassinating your chippies.
This is what you want to see, a Herald fighting 2 charges, a turret going down, a second down to 50. And a potential aftermath of another kill as well, but thankfully a blast cone is there to save the day.
The conversation of timing, I think, above all else there. If Pentanet were able to use those ultimates 10 seconds earlier when they had that first fight, then maybe it's a different game. But they have those abilities, 5 seconds away at the point that this fight starts. They just get to use them now, but by the time they do, Violet is dead, and so the fight is wrapped, and they're left to just disengage. They'll get away, a charm will connect. But when all said and done, one person gone, that was all the Chiefs were really after. They got the Drake as well.
Very different game plan from either team. This is something I was fairly excited about, is the presence of an Akali able to pick apart these squishy members. You saw it demonstrated there. And it will continue to be answered in these side lanes, especially if Dongi is forced to answer back. Babip, going to poke his head into mid lane, doesn't have ult just yet, about 5 seconds away, just wants to be a menace to prevent this mid-tier 1 from falling down.
Chippy's also hovering very close to his Mega Knight, could hit the ward but would reveal himself. He's sitting on a control ward. He's actually going to walk back. No, he's not. He's going to walk mid. Well, they're engaging.
Bio thought about it for a second, but might have to burn the TP instead. The fight is breaking out. In comes the TP. It's a flank. Who's he going to go for? Looking at Dongi, absolutely. No, instead changing his target on towards Violet, remove him from the equation. Dongi forced to flash away. Violet left to his own devices. He's dead again for the first time in these team fights. And in jumps Chippy. He's looking to try and slam dunk them down, but just play Peel. As Raze really is at a point of power now. 2 kills to his name and another Barret on spawn.
And they've gone for the dive again, and with no hesitation. The flank existed, the teleport comes in from BioPanther. It feels like the Chiefs are the ones, while they're sitting under turret, pressuring elsewhere, kind of pushing PGG to make these decisions. But the second the dive comes through, it gets handled very nicely. And they bury themselves in their own early grave there, Pentanet, with that dive.
They are certainly hunting for these picks, but unable to find them as cleanly as they would like, and Chiefs are just landing that counterpunch back.
And watch, they go forwards, but it's Babip that tanks everybody. Raze simply needs to dash away from the Wukong. Kisei's in the area. The massive Renekton comes through. The Eid already connected, hits the R1 before going for it, and then just dices Violet, dashes over the wall, and makes sure that they get the rest of this team fight. Raze wasn't able to ult at the very start of the fight as well. Again, a game of very difficult cooldown tracking, but it's the decision that fails Pentanet that time.
A very different strategy being deployed by these teams, but right now is Chiefs up by 10 kills. They've played the skirmishes as opposed to the map. They have managed to acquire the Dragons in their favor. As you said, Babip incredibly tanky. Able to rally them into a situation where you need to overextend to try and make that play, to try and make that pick. Unable to make it stick, and he jumps again. He's found that target he's after. A third flash by Appy, in trouble. Final chapter, trying to find the route. Appy gone, Bio's found it, now 3-0-3. And the X-Order members link up beautifully. And
it's easy to say Kisei's unleashed, but ultimately there's a giant boar running around making it easy for him. Babip is huge this game. Has very successfully played this one out. And Appy, I mean, now he's just a 0-5 Caitlyn, and being a support Caitlyn becomes kind of pointless for him at this point. He's just got to pray that his team gets it done. He's going to place some traps, buy some time, maybe deal some damage. Hard to play, though. Chiefs with Baron threatening more than one turret here, you would expect. They're going to go straight bottom as well, look for the outer and the inner, and Chippy's should probably do a little bit of threat assessment right now.
Uh-oh.
And realize that he's overstayed his welcome by a large amount already.
Yep, and his tools to evade this are fairly limited. He's going to do as best as he can to build up that rage bar. Falls to bottom, jump and run and hope, and ultimately survive.
He got the fleet proc, and I don't think they were expecting it.
Well, he's done enough to turn into Mega. How much time can he bait out here? He's going to hit the slam, knock them back into the wall, and hope that the rest of his team who are in mid and top to maybe find a turret of their own.
Yeah, looking for a turret in top lane. Dongi has been quietly achieving in this one as well, it must be said. Farming up quite nicely, and it is 2-0, but a little bit difficult to have the team around him so far. A 0-4-0 top, a 1-4 jungler, and a 1-4 ADC, and a 0-5 Caitlyn support have made this game very difficult to play out. Dealing with all of the tanks on the other side. Tanky champions. Yuumi making tanks out of people.
Yeah.
Raze having a barrier and a Yuumi heal. Felt like shoe on the other foot with this game, right? Chiefs came in. They were aggressive. They were making plays.
Yeah.
Pentanet weren't diving. They were playing for structures. They changed their style up just enough that it felt like the Chiefs dealt with them.
There's the point now. Infernal Drake has been taken there. As Kisei gets the spy, going in for the 1v2 right now. Schönfire rocks up to back up Dongi. Dongi's still in trouble. Schön, oh, he can't get him. Kisei jumps in, he knows how many ults went his way. That was a Caitlyn and a Draven. Everybody wanted it.
A barrage of abilities appeared, and he's like, well, I guess I try and trade, do what I can. Mid laner of the Chiefs does go down. But still third Drake in the hands of the Chiefs themselves. That cannon is miserable and has tilted the Observer.
Oh, here we go. Raze turns on the music. He's feeling himself right now. The final chapter goes wide flash on their head. Delete Violet. You can't play. Inspired.
Oh, Raze.
He's got the cooldown reduction across the wall. He goes. It's beautiful. He's finding the zap. He wants the triple bev. Don't steal it, and he gets it.
Just a quick reminder for everyone why Raze is one of the best series that we have in our entire league. You can see the absolute montage made by the Chiefs ADC. He does not want to lose to Pentanet.gg, and he just stamps it with authority.
Those were his words exactly. I cannot afford to lose to this team. I will not lose to this team, and we're seeing exactly demonstrated in this game right now. 7-1-6. A 1K shutdown.
Never give Raze motivation. He will hold on to that, and he will make that absolutely work for his team.
And now the first inhibitor opened up. There's Raze, plays to the side lane. Takes down another one. That's now 6 turrets to 4. One more reset, one more item spike, and you're looking at another Baron in just over a minute.
Contesting this Baron going to be quite difficult to do. As far as team fighting is concerned for PGG, you've got a Mega Knight, you've got a Wukong, but the rest of the team's just about damage application. And they're so difficult to kill now, especially Radiant Virtue being there to heal them up while they're fighting. Bruisers all are going to be in melee range.
Yeah.
They just persevere so well. Draven's build as well, straight into the LDR second. That is a conditioned ADC.
They have certainly realized just how tanky those bruisers are for the side of Chiefs. Even the Black Cleavers coming out from both solo laners. Unleash that true damage potential. Navori Quick Blades as well. Even more cooldown reduction to complement the Radiant Virtue.
It's one of those situations though, Skimmy, where if you do contest this Baron, you could lose the game. But if you don't contest the Baron, you've probably lost the game. So that's the crossroads that Pentanet will find themselves at. And I want to see how they actually try and get into the river. And if the Chiefs will even give them the chance, or if they'll just shut them out at the river gates.
So far, they've planted themselves firmly in the mid lane. Bot lane pushing against them. Kisei answering top side as well.
Look at the wards near the pit, though. Schönfire face-checking this is interesting.
It certainly is interesting, and he's going to find himself in a bit of a scary situation here. Trying to ult his way to safety, but he is just dead. And you ask the question, how would they get in? Well, not like that.
Just to highlight the war of information here, Pentanet have a ward right there. You would know if they were hitting Baron. You have a ward just below the bush that Babip was in. And so he sweeps in, face checks, finds, yeah, that's where they are. And he has confirmed that for the team. Unfortunate decision there from Schönfire.
Second Baron going the way of the Chiefs now. Looking to bridge this lead to another 10k affair. There it is. Chippy's trying to answer back with a potential inhibitor opening of his own, but Bio's come back to base to help out. He's got the TP to go with his team if need be.
Schön is back alive, so it should just be the inhibitor that does fall down. And it looks like we're going to be going coast to coast here with that charm going wide. There's a Drake up in 40 seconds. It's a Soul. Chiefs probably want to reset, use that home guard movement speed straight towards the pit. Looks like top laners were fighting each other, but no one took damage. As far as we can tell, they were just fighting each other. Bio ulted.
Having a bit of a biff there, just defending the mid lane. Stand strong for the meantime. Now, Pentanet have not reset. They had the luxury of getting here first to assert themselves all this vision control and the traps.
Yeah, they can put some Kate traps down. They can try and set this up. Babip's never going to get one hit, though, and he can walk straight through with a Yuumi on his back.
Shrelia is.
Appy!
In they go. Appy's in trouble. He's flashed, and he's missed it again. He's dead for right. Kislei's found the angle on the side. He's chasing after Chippies. He wants to remove him in a 1v1. Chippy's forced to flash away. There is the rocket belt. And there is... Oh, no. Did he just stutter step on him? I think he swagged it. He really wanted to send a message to them. We are winning this game, and that they certainly are.
The inevitable occurs is what Kisei is saying. You can't avoid this one. Straight down mid lane, Pentanet, they tried to get to the Drake, but they can't stop the indomitable Chiefs when they have momentum and want to win.
Angernet empowered and ultimately too strong on the day. 29.5 minutes in, and Chiefs bite back with a super week for them of their own by taking down Pentanet.
An important bounce back as well, given that they did lose to the Direwolves. But this is a different Chiefs. This is the Chiefs that we're used to seeing. The Beast is back. Kisei on these Assassins is just so dangerous. And Biopanther with his teleports, with his team fighting, shows that you can handle the dives. Because I feel like the recipe was there, right? The same Pentanet recipe was there. You set up the waves bottom, you dive bottom. They pushed Babip out of the jungle,
Yeah.
but then along came a Crocodile and just thwarted all of it.
I kind of said, we know exactly what your textbook play is. We'll absorb it, we'll answer back, and we'll throw it right back at you, Mac.
Along came a crocodile, huh? But look, we were discussing backstage. I think Kitty might have a message that we've cooked up for Appy.
Yes, so dear Appy, your name doesn't start with K and it doesn't end with area. Unfortunately, he decided to pick the Caitlyn support coming into this match up against the Chiefs, and I believe his score was 0-6. 0-6.
Thereabouts, yeah.
Yeah, thereabouts, but let's take a replay of what happened in this game because we saw so much pressure coming out of the Caitlyn and Draven from level 1, but of course, highlighting that the TP out of the Crocodile coming all the way from top lane just to save Raze from dying. That one death meant so much because the Draven and Caitlyn just spent so much, I believe, resources on that kill. It just never happened. And then from then, Sejuani was always in bot lane, and when you're in such a high prior lane, Sejuani camping this lane, Wukong was missing, Dongi was missing. We don't see PGG's usual synergy from the previous 3 games where they're constantly hovering Violet and protecting him on this Draven pick. And of course, I don't know if it's Dongi not having that communication as well compared to the previous games, or if it's Kisei being such a well laner and he's not letting Dongi find those angles to roam for free. But of course, Draven, Caitlyn suffering immensely from how the early game went, and just everything went to shambles once they got their items.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that because arguably we were seeing Kisei rotate before Dongi was rotating. So he was doing something to get that prio in mid lane, get those rotations off first. And look, going back to the start of the game, that first TP from Bio just not only saving the lane, but I reckon that saved the game because it just threw that chemistry, threw everything out of PGG's playbook.
I also have a theory. So when we go watch the T1 game where Carrier did debut his Caitlyn support, it was up against a Lulu, and I believe that they predicted that it would be a Zeri and Lulu. However, they decided to go with the Yuumi, and when it does come to these matchups, Yuumi has that extra sustain when you do want to be poking down the enemy ADC as that Caitlyn, but of course sustain gets you healed up, has a barrier, extra barrier on the other hand. And something else that I remember was that Carrier went barrier just to avoid some extra deaths, which was desperately needed against an Akali and Renekton in this game.
Yeah, so it seems. Now, dude, I feel like if I'm going to put this game against the Chiefs and Direwolves game, I feel like Chiefs and Direwolves delivered in different aspects, but this delivered in terms of Chiefs really putting their foot down and saying, look, PGG, we're the first good team that you're playing, and we're just going to show you that those little tricks that you're pulling against the worst teams, they're not going to work here, not in the big boy league. So Chiefs, you know, taking a 3-1 scoreline now, but not the top of the groups. That's going to leave Direwolves outright first after everything today.
So I was saying at the end of yesterday, looking at the schedule, Chiefs can drag them down with them, and Dials are just cheering at the top. This is the best day ever. But no, I think you summarized it quite well. Yesterday's game was fun, but you heard from both teams they made a lot of mistakes and they weren't happy with the game. But it was a fun game. This was Chiefs putting the foot down and saying, "This is the standard that you need to meet. If you're not scrimming us, welcome to how good we are."
Well, one of the individuals that put their foot down, well, maybe not because they were like floating on a book or whatever. It's Alidoric. We got him here for an interview. Mate, how you doing? The big smile on your face. Are you happy with that win?
Yeah, very happy with that win.
Well, congratulations on the win against PGG as well. So let's talk about RP picking this Caitlyn. I wasn't expecting anyone to have the guts to debut this Caitlyn in LCO, but what are your thoughts on it?
If you're not carrier, don't pick Caitlyn support. That's it, really.
What if
Is there a
Can you
world
pick
where
it?
we see you pick it? Like,
Yeah.
are you going to maybe put it up your sleeve, or
Ooh.
do you not? Do you respect Carrier enough that you're not going to try?
Probably not. I think it's just one of those picks that's like, if you're not the best support in the world, you just don't pick it, you know?
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, I don't know if you've been watching my streams, but my name has changed to Kit Area. So it starts with K, ends with Area. But let's talk about your overall dub against, I believe it was PGG. So we saw the Vi being banned away, and I believe Schönfire locked in the Wukong. So that changed a lot of the game, where I believe Babip was able to give so many resources to you guys in that bot lane. So what was the game plan going into this one?
Just what they drafted, it's really obvious what they want to do. Like, just push mid and dive bot permanently. So, from just when they locked in their champs, we just talked about like how we want to stop them from snowballing. And that was it, really. It was just, if they don't get ahead in the first like 5-10 minutes of the game, it's just over.
Now, what's the next big goal for the Chiefs? Is it to somehow, you know, hope that Direwolves trip up so you guys can take the top of the leaderboard, or are you happy to aim for second and just be top of your group once we move into that next stage?
We don't really care about where we place right now on the like standings. I think yesterday it was just like a terrible game. Like, I think we're up like 6k gold at like 20 minutes, and we lost that game. But like, obviously it sucks to lose, but what matters is playoffs, right? So that's all we're looking towards right now.
Great to know that you guys took a lot from that loss up against Styles, but it's pretty late into the night. I'm going to send you off and hope you have a good
Thanks,
night's
Kitty.
sleep playing some Yumi. Disgusting. Anyways, good night, Alidoric, and
Good night.
congratulations on the win.
Thank you. See you guys later.
Sorry, I just
I
had
don't know if we
to
caught
chuck
that
it
in
in
time.
there.
By the way, look, yes, you went to the funeral earlier. You just really wanted to say, get rid of the
Alidoric
cat.
like revived the cat or something. I don't know how she's still getting. I mean, it's not patch 13.1 yet, but reality it is already that patch. Anyways,
Wait, you mean patch B? Yeah.
The
B,
B
B.
patch,
Yeah,
yeah, not the A
yeah.
patch, not the good patch, not
Next week. Next week.
Next week patch.
Yumi is dead.
next week. No more Yumi.
all black. I'm gonna be wearing it for an entire week.
By the
Morning
way-
all split.
I'm in a party outfit. What
Guess,
do you mean?
guess who the Dare MVP was, Rusty?
Raise.
Well, let's see if Twitch chat agrees with Rusty. It was BioPanther. So, what do you know? Bio
was
from
close.
the top lane, 304. Other side of the rift, mate. You were nowhere near him. 29% KP, but saving the game with that level 1 or 2 or 3 TP.
Yeah, level 3 TP maybe, but I need to highlight that Chiefs, they have such great solo laners in BioPanther and Kisei when these team fights do come around, because they find these insane flank angles on the Renekton, on the Akali. The carriers of the enemy team just couldn't really play the team fights because they were just physically getting sandwiched and suffocated, where just really good targeting from the side of Chiefs.
Yeah, I was trying to predict what chat would go for. I would have actually picked Alidoric with the biggest sigh ever because it was a Yumi, but it was either Alidoric or BioPanther, just for the way they played bot lane to let Raze be as aggressive as he was.
There you go. There you have it. Now, well, that's the player of the match, the Dare MVP, of course. We've got the play of the day. Any takers as to what your most memorable play is? It's been a bit of a speed run day.
Could be Raze. When he, you know the Raze play at the enemy
end.
blue buff where he jumps the wall at the same time as the blast cone. Felt like a Hollywood scene. Like I like that one.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The different camera angles
Yeah.
flashing
Like
everywhere.
Mike
Like
Bay movie.
Matrix, you know, when he's like upside down. He's like,
Yeah.
ooh,
Like
just
he's
tracking them.
predicted it was cool.
Well, it
With
wasn't
psycho
that.
mode.
It wasn't.
Well, I got
Nice-
nothing else.
Nice crack. Only because we got short-term memory loss. When your broadcast talent, things that just happen take priority over things that happen at the start of the
Mammoth
day.
game.
It was not that, actually. It was from the
Aw.
first game of the day, Shimmy. All the
Bot
way
dive.
back. Think back.
What was the first game?
Yeah, this one.
GZ versus, I believe,
Ah.
DW.
Yeah, big ace. Big ace
Zonas
coming
going
through.
in for the kill onto Dante, kill him 4v5. I believe the bomber actually separated everyone, but it didn't matter too much, unfortunately, for the side of Tron. And Chaz was just wiping everyone with this Akali pick, and it's really clean from Dials. Look at, what is Dante doing there?
Great question.
Did he
He's
vent
showing.
there?
He must have vented there.
He's waiting for a mate.
He's waiting for a mate, just got his thumbs up. It's like, hey, can someone please pick me up?
Take me on a ride. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, GZ all over the bloody place in this one. But look, well played from Direwolves, just schooling him. Chaz as well. Look, gets his little mark off just before the split happened on the LeBlanc, so was able just to jump straight on him. Home in missile. Bloody gymnastics, as you said the other week.
Gymnastics. I'm never going to let that one down. Look,
Gymnastics.
my mate travelled from all the way bot lane to the top lane, and I was just like, gymnastics. It's the first thing that came to mind, and this might be moving at 1,000,000 miles per hour.
She does
Gymnastics
vault,
indeed.
to be fair. Well, she's
The
traveling.
pole vault, the long jump,
Mhm.
something.
Okay.
That's not gymnastics.
Look, guess what? After
That's
all
athletics.
these games, of course,
Multiple somersault.
we got the updated schedule to have a quick look at as well. So let's see
It's
where
a bench
all
press, bro.
the teams are sitting as you guys talk about exercises. I did bench earlier, but we'll talk about that after the show. Of course, we got Direwolves outright first at the moment. So 4-0 so far in this first round robin, and the only round robin, by the way. Second, there's a tie there, PGG with the Chiefs. I dare say Chiefs over the top with a head-to-head. So probably sitting slightly higher up. Who knows? For now, we've got 2 fourth-place teams. That's Mammoth and Bliss. Bliss, of course, getting that forfeit win over Peace. And Mammoth with the win that I don't think many people expected over the top of Kanga. And, of course, GZ down on the 1-3 with Kanga. And then Peace, the team we have not seen yet to play. So we'll see when they play, if they play.
Hopefully we see them next week.
Yes, hopefully.
I sure hope so. I don't think,
I
can they
sure hope
even
so.
play if they don't have their Ross by next week? We don't know the rules here.
We don't, but we do know that Why Not got a free win today. So he's going to tell us just how much that means to him. Why Not? How you feeling? Quickly, how well did you play today? I want to know because we didn't get to see it.
Oh, I mean, we played pretty stellar. We actually did have some games earlier. We don't take days off. You know, we're not going to be complacent. We got our win yesterday. We did go straight back into scrimming today. Usually, we obviously don't take scrims on game days, but as we don't get to play a stage game today, yeah, straight back to practice. So today, yeah, it was actually very good and very productive. Thank you, Mac.
Well, I'm gonna make chat decide. Chat, please rate Why Not's Fortnite victory dance from the post-game celebration out of 10, and what are your ratings for it as well?
I was just getting hyped, man. What can I say? It
10
was
out
just
of
an
10?
exciting moment, you know. First victory. I've been called the reverse Bo on Twitter. You know, Bo with his very big win streak. I have my my 7 loss streak, right? So I'm kind of like the reverse Bo when you think about it. And I finally broke that last night, so I was excited. So I let my body do its thing, let out the emotions.
Do you have some more post-game shenanigans for us lined up, you know, up your sleeve somewhere? Because
Without a doubt.
we used to have Winterud doing all the fun stuff post-game, him and Rogue, but they're like kind of locked in between all their teammates or even just locked out of the league. Rogue's not here anymore. So you have to really, you know, take a lot of this weight.
I'll try to step up my game for sure. I think it should only get better from here. You know, there's lots of dances to choose from. We'll have different ideas, you know, perhaps. So we'll have to see a few more wins because it only happens on the victory cam. You know, I'm not going to be crying on the losing side. So we'll try and make our wins memorable for sure.
Definitely anticipating those post-game victory celebrations from you, Why Not? But let's chug it back to last night where you guys grabbed the win. And I just wanted to know what the communication is like with playing with Daystar, and of course how he's settling into the team, because we've heard great things about this guy.
Yeah, I think that Daystar, I've said this before on interview, he's a really incredible player, very standout, you know, has, again, I've repeating myself here, but all the hallmarks of an incredible mid lane player. Regarding, you know, communication, his English is limited at the moment, but as he is living in Australia, honestly, day by day, he's getting more confident and more comfortable, you know, talking in scrims. And honestly, it doesn't really matter if you're talking or not when you are solo killing the enemy mid laner, you know, on repeat. Obviously, on stage, we're seeing a lot of people targeting, you know, Daystar, and I think it's becoming a bit of a trend where teams gravitate towards, you know, constantly 3-manning him. and ensuring that he isn't able to just lane 1v1 against his opponent, because it usually turns out, pretty in favor for us here at Bliss.
Well, hopefully we get to see you guys do the reverse 3-man and get revenge for Daystar in the upcoming games. Well, best of luck for tomorrow, because you guys will have a match and we will see you then.
Thank you very much, Kitty.
No, thank you, why not? For coming in on your day off, of course, celebrating the forfeit win, of course. That's a dub. That's a dub in my books. Now, Kitty, where are you going to be tomorrow? Because I heard you're having the day off. Do you have an appointment with the bin bird?
Yeah, I don't know. So the guy from earlier, Mr. Carbon, said that I'm too low elo for LCO now, and they're going to bring someone else onto this couch that isn't me. I believe he's a pro player.
Oh, a pro player?
Can you confirm
Definitely
that?
not. Maybe. Well, I guess we'll see who it is when... Look, we've already spoken about it in the broadcast, but I guess we'll see who it is tomorrow.
Who knows? Could be anyone.
I don't know.
Look, let's have a look at tomorrow's games anyway. Let's see what games are on the menu, of course, for our first Super Week of many this split. We got Mammoth and the Chiefs going toe-to-toe at 6 p.m. So,
Banger.
Mammoth.
Both on win streaks.
Yep,
Huge
both
win
on
streak
win
gaming.
streaks. So, we'll see what they're going to be able to do off the back of those. And GZ and Bliss, sorry, for a second I was like, hang on, Chiefs only won one, but one win is technically a win streak. So, look, you got me there, Rusty. 7 p.m, Team Bliss up against Ground Zero. This will be a nice game just to sort of see where Ground Zero's sitting and if Team Bliss can sort of make things look that little bit cleaner. 8 p.m, Direwolves and Kanga. You're looking at Direwolves undefeated at the moment. Maybe Kanga can bounce back of sorts because they're a little bit shaky around the edges, as you saw today in that game against Mammoth. And PGG are going to get that free dub over Peace, so they get a day off and a shorter week, no Super Week for them. Which one of these, Kitty, since you're not going to be here, is your game to watch?
Ooh, well, I will be looking at Team Bliss vs Ground Zero Gaming, because I think Ground Zero had a pretty decent early game. We saw that Gooby was making so many proactive plays with that Graves, getting Dante and Bulldog ahead. However, when it came to those mid-game teamfight execution, it just wasn't there, and I don't think the Gragas pick from Tron in particular did what it was intended to do.
Okay. Well, if you guys missed today's show, well, hey, how you doing? You just caught the end of it. Congratulations. But if you want to watch it all again and all the other games, other shows that we've done here on the LCO for this split, even for the last bloody 2 years, youtube.com/@LCO, of course, so you can make sure you don't miss out on the action. And if you don't have the time to sit through the whole VODs, there's little highlight packages there as well, so you can just see all the best parts. And that's what you love to see. Video editing team doing bloody work. Big congrats. And that brings us to the end of a Tuesday. Kitty, any final words for all your Yumi fans or your Kitty fans, because you're not going to be here tomorrow?
I can't hair flip right now because I have a giant headset on my head, but Cool Kitty signing out. I'm sure the paparazzi is going to block my way to the studio tomorrow, so I won't be able to make it, and I will miss you all very, very, very dearly.
Paparazzi?
Cute!
Wow.
Nice.
Wow,
Okay.
and on that note, you guys don't get to see that. You might later on in the split, as, of course, it's going to take way too long to develop. I'm going to close the show. Thank you again for watching the LCO. We'll be back tomorrow for the third big day of week 2 of the LCO. Don't miss it.
That flank, Dante here on his own so far. Hook shot across the wall. This is your worst case nightmare. Has to flash to the tower. That means Ryan's is chasing in hot pursuit. He's going to find the kill. Hexagon's made him guarantees it. He's going to get out of range of that tower, no matter how empowered it might be. Challenges to annihilate Gooby. And they might do just what you said. If they can get an ace here, they get the dragon, they deny the point, and they get a little bit more. Perfect ace.
Voice now using his HP as a tool to bait. And he's gone. And the hook was thrown when he left.
Oh no, he's gone back in.
I can't.
Are you leaving? He's coming back in.
I don't.
Are you going?
My brother in
Oh,
Christ.
they know you're here now. Okay, flash punch ult. I tell you what, hey, it's a gang, it's a kill.
That was sick.
Hey. Oh, here we go, Raze. Turns on the music. He's feeling himself right now. The final chapter goes wide flash on their head. Delete Violet. You can't play. It's fired.
Raze.
He's got the cooldown reduction across the wall. He goes. It's beautiful. He's finding the zap. He wants the triple pepper. Don't steal it, and he gets it.